that was, yeah, obviously the huge difference.
Well, map number 1 was Coastline. Let's have a look at where we will be going for map number 2. Coastline banned out by Wildcard last. I don't know why they would have done that, but anyway, we're going to end up at Kafe, which, fun fact, Fury beat Fnatic on last season, the only map that Fnatic lost. Will we see something similar here potentially?
Maybe. Wildcard have had a pretty strong Kafe record before. They smacked Kanga on it last week. 7-1 was the scoreline on that one. So, yeah, we'll see. But man, I'm second guessing myself after that first map. Like, Wildcard just had nothing going on defense, really. They got that first round. That was it.
Well, let's see what you guys think. Do you guys reckon Fury might show up big here on map number 2? Let's bring up the poll. Nope, Wildcard, 65%.
Pretty heavy, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. You still have to back them though. Like Kafe, we know that they showed really strong performances there against Na'Vi, which was pretty unexpected at the time as well. Funnily enough, they actually then lost Coastline. So
True.
I don't know, maybe some sort of trend there.
Yep.
I don't know. Will Fury be able to draw enough from that sort of Fnatic game and maybe the momentum from map number 1 to actually take out Wildcard, or are Wildcard gonna finally like flick a switch and be on game?
I think the big tell that we're not gonna know until we start seeing this map is just how is the mindset of Wildcard. If they can just get over that first map, I think they can take Kafe. It's definitely been a strong map for them. Likewise with Fury, but at the end of the day, Wildcard just being the more experienced team. They looked like they got a bit tilted though on Coastline. 5 rounds in a row for Fury. I think that's got to be down to some pressure that Wildcard were clearly feeling.
Well, let's jump into Kafe for map number 2. Wildcard versus Fury. Fury managing to clutch up massive there on map number 1. Can they replicate it here in the second? Let's get into the ban phase and wait and see. I think the major thing to sort of differentiate Coastline to Kafe is the fact that Kafe is much heavier focused on the defense, or much more favored on defense, as opposed to Coastline, which statistically we saw attacker sided going into this, and then Fury just proved that point.
Yes, and Fury are actually the ones starting on defense, so one would argue they have a favorable start for this map. Same attack bans here. I've got the Buck and the Capitao. Buck being a double ban for Fury on both maps, so yeah, really targeting Wildcard, I'd say. They do definitely use Buck a lot for that vertical play. Fury really identifying that might be the crutch for them to derail their attacks.
That means we're going to go a whole night with no Thatcher ban.
Yeah.
That is actually pretty big.
It's so opposite to what we've seen.
Yeah. So, you know, if you enjoy playing Thatcher, well, there you go. You'll learn from the best very soon. Although, they didn't play a lot of Thatcher last map.
Yes.
But that was because Coastline isn't really dependent on Hard Bridge.
No, and we still saw the attacks winning most of those, so you would argue that maybe they didn't need it if they weren't using it. Maestro and Echo both banned again, so a lot of defense intel hit there. That could have been a difference. Defense is not winning many rounds, potentially because no Echo or Maestro. It's a big dent in a defense. The mirror was up, rarely used, didn't have a whole lot of impact. See if we get it on Kafe again. A couple of parts of Kafe that are helpful to use the mirror on, one being in the mining walls. They are doing fireplace mining, which isn't the more common second floor, usually reading and fireplace.
Fury with another interesting decision on the defense. I mean, it only took them one defense in the last map to then transition to Penthouse, which is the rotation's least favored bomb site. You know what, they're just going to head straight into the least favored already here on the second map. I think that most of the sites are competitive on this map anyway. If you have a solid enough foundation, mining and dining do play out quite similarly to how the reading variant does. We'll have to wait and see what they go for. Mirror though, yeah, interesting, because I can't recall seeing Mirror utilized a lot on this map.
Yeah, there's a couple of places Mirror is great, but at the end of the day, not a huge impact. Nullified by vertical play, so Fury did ban out that Buck. That helps them. It means that Wildcard really only have the Sledge as the main option for verticality. Can use breach charges, of course, or a shotgun, of course. Dope will be bringing a shotgun on Gridlock. However, it's just not as nice as a Buck. Buck just makes that work so much easier, so much quicker. And it means that Fury will probably dedicate a lot vertically, I'd say, for this bomb site.
Warden is roaming below on the Vigil. He's going to make his way up red now as Wildcard will begin to repel towards the site. I'm expecting Wildcard to go for a top to bottom take, so typical on this side, but that doesn't mean it's easy. Fury will likely have a lot of utility placed above, potentially some below as well, so even if they do get towards the site, that plant could still be a challenge to get there.
That Fury roam was a little slippery on coastline. On the rounds that Fury won, it was 100% the undoing of Wildcard, and even the rounds that they didn't win, it almost was. A couple of rounds were shaded peaks at the start, giving man advantage. Fury didn't quite close out, so they are able to do so on Kafe. They're going to be tricky for Wildcard, so they are going to have to be thorough, which again plays to a weakness of Wildcard, being their time management. Kafe requires great time management because it's not an easy map to attack. If you don't have much time, it's a lot of issues.
That's a nice mirror there from Fury. Warden's using that to gain a lot of intel over towards Cigar Shop. He's just playing it patiently though, which is exactly the way to go about it when that mirror is there. He doesn't need to overpeak it. Wildcard, we're expecting him to do so. He actually makes his way through while that player falls off the angle. This could be a massive flank if it isn't watched. Surely Warden doesn't get away with this. It'd be murder if he does. He destroys the first drone. He just gets away in time, so not the worst result there for Wildcard. That could have ended a lot more badly.
If he had actually pushed a little quicker into Cigar, he might have been able to catch that player off guard. One on Skylight. Didn't seem sure whether he had pushed deep, and he's just retaken Cocktail instantly.
Okay.
And now they're going to have to deal with this again. All these drones coming through. If he dies here, at least he's taken out all these drones. Not spotted in that prone position. He sees the player and peeks onto Emo Rin, making it a 4 versus 4, guys. So much of this round is gone. It's less than a minute to go. Wildcard have not achieved much, but they are at least getting some picks.
Warden gets 2. He's wasted so much time for Wildcard already, and he could even get a 3rd. Instead, he opts to drop below. It is a 3-on-3, but Wildcard don't have a lot of time to play with. And unlike most of their attacks, they haven't really done a lot of groundwork. So this execute will be quite a challenge. Diesel currently has the diffuser above and drops Warden, so Golden's going to try and retake that position. Meanwhile, Shade, who went off in map number 1, he's going to try and retake up red. Definitely not improbable here for Fury. If they can just get one more pick and drop that diffuser, it looks like Wildcard is stalling out once again. They might be aware that Shade is trying to flank up to cover the other bomb side, as Golden will now get aggro in towards reading. There is a player on the other side of that wall as Diesel will attempt the plant. Shade with the flank. No way! He denies it. That's Diesel off the board. The trades come out and now it's Golden on Derpay. Golden runs away. Fury take the round, and once again a misplay from Wildcard will cost them. How do you let him get outside?
Yeah, potentially no flank drone there, but Wildcard either way. Shade slipped away unnoticed. Won the round for his team. Golden beautifully played at the end. Just running away. And oh, look, Warden's got to be credited with that roam. Just absolutely devastated Wildcard, not just with those frags. He did find a double. I think he shot more than half the drones possible on that round. I think he shot like 6. I started counting. I lost count. In the end, that just had to have been the biggest dent in Wildcard's attack there. So well played by him, and they're doing the other second floor bomb site now, guys. They're going for reading.
I feel like maybe that's off the back of the fact that they've likely vodded Wildcard and might be a little bit afraid that their top stairs attack is really strong. So taking them to these off sites, or these less preferred sites on the defensive side, may well work. It worked for round number 1. I mean, they made a simple error in not watching the run out, which, yes, is a ranked play. But hey, it worked. There was a player in Pillars, a player in Train. Neither of them were expecting that, and it happened that quickly that the planter couldn't turn around either. So Fury, if they continue to just shuffle it up here a little bit, Wildcard could find themselves continuing to drop rounds.
I think also maybe some unnoticed team play there, whether intentional or not, would be that player at Pillars was potentially the one to shut down Shade, the one that ran out on red stairs. Golden pushed through around reading hallway, or that 90 hallway. It was probably enough distraction for that Pillars player just to enable that run out to actually successfully happen. So really well played from Fury there. Guys, that's 6 rounds in a row in general for Fury now. I feel like with every round in a row, it's just this dagger being pushed deeper and deeper into Wildcard. It's starting to be whether they'll just continue to bleed out or whether they can finally pull that dagger out and get some rounds back themselves.
Okay, Warden. Oh, wow. If he had have pulled that off, Wildcard would have been really annoyed. But it does get shut down. Fury now at the man disadvantage, and they've also lost a player that was so key in wasting a lot of time in intel in the previous round. So Fury now need to adapt with that weaker roam. Wildcard now in a really nice position to try and get above control, try and drone out the side and act upon that intel.
Yeah, maybe not the play from Warden there, probably trying to deliberately target the mindset, you could say, of Wildcard, successfully getting that spawn peak. If anything, it's just going to be affecting their mindset. But they have lost Warden, as you said. That will make the roam clear a little bit easier. Rock gets stunned, but not tagged out. Lucky to be alive there. It was Ethan on that rappel. They are attempting this vertical roam clear. It is slow again, almost half this round gone. Starting to get a little bit of control, but Shade has something to say about that. That is Derpay taken off the board. Now Wildcard, they're going to stall out from that surely.
Shade has spent this entire map and the last map just running around and gunning, and it's paying off. Okay, Diesel, he's going to shut that down, so sorry for the caster's curse. That leaves it in a 4-on-3. Rock is trying to retake up White by the looks of things. That's an interesting play from him. And Golden, he's inside the bomb site. So Wildcard should be able to flush or cut off these players. Whether or not they'll be able to do that in a minute, we'll have to wait and see. Muesli is also playing over towards mining. So if Wildcard read into this, they should be able to shut this down.
I mean, one thing that we should say for Wildcard is the map says that they are expected to lose a majority of these attacks. That's just how it is default dictated. So if they lose a few, it's not really that dire. But I think it just comes down to how many rounds consecutively they lose, as that will really affect the momentum. Rock has found his way below, so he can get some vertical denial. Not a whole lot to be had in reading though. He's going to flank around. This could be the linchpin here if Wildcard are not good on flank watch. They didn't get those gridlock track stingers down. Could be their undoing, Guz, in this final 30 seconds.
Rock is continuing to crouch walk around the map. It's going to make him really hard to hear. And if Wildcard go for the plant, which they will, they might not hear this. The flank is coming out, the angle's being held, and the wide peak will shut him down. Muesli tries to refrag, but doesn't quite get the kill. And Wildcard will clean up the round. And I think Warden is probably going to be a little bit annoyed that he lost his life earlier.
Yeah, probably maybe regretting that spawn peak. Either way, Wildcard finally, they've got a round, they've broken that streak of Furies, broken that momentum. Bleeding has been patched, Guz, but have to keep it going. If they manage to win a few of these attacks, definitely setting themselves up for a great position. One other thing about the bans is it might actually balance it out a little bit, you know, because not having the Echo or the Maestro on Kafe just means that it's a little bit less defender intel, and a late round intel might make it a little bit easier for the attackers.
And I was just about to say that I'm surprised Fury aren't bringing an additional intel gatherer. They will bring Mozzie. Surprised that they aren't bringing the Valkyrie though, because of how impactful those late round Plantanos can be, especially on this map. There's a lot of verticality to play off. If you have the C4s, if you have the gunners below to go for those pre-fires, that can work. Particularly on this side as well, as the entirety of both bomb sites essentially are breakable from below, unless you manage to jump up onto one of those cocktail bars, which in the late round can be quite challenging. Either way though, Fury, they're quite content, I feel, and these operators, they seem to be quite comfortable. Maybe Mirror isn't the play, but Mirror is quite a strong operator on this side if not flushed out correctly, and maybe that's how they're justifying it, because the Mirror can be more of that mobile intel gatherer with a gun.
One thing that they could do, an option that's available for them, is after this round, they can bait out a Valkyrie, or they can 6-pick to the Valkyrie. Wildcard aren't bringing IQ, maybe because Fury haven't shown a Valkyrie at this stage. So to 6-pick to that, they could get the jump on Wildcard. That could be intel that Wildcard just never see, depending on those Valkyrie camps. It's going to be an option available to them, so we'll see how this plays out. Maybe this Mirror gets the round for them with that live intel, as you called it. Wildcard already on the roof, which means they...
Oh no! The C4? Okay, Warden, that is an interesting kill to say the least. Wow, he comes back from that last round with vengeance. And once again, Wildcard will lose the early man advantage.
Ah, I am stunned. That was a great C4, taking out Emarin on the sledge. Derpay is going to push up from the bottom. Was caught on the red stairs last time, taken out nice and early. Shade
Oh,
is
no.
in mining, so he could get the jump again. I believe it was Shade that found Derpe last time. Derpe's actually going to run away, maybe aware of Shade's position. Jumping back outside, just going to rappel above, not wanting a bar of it. Shade not in pursuit quick enough, so he probably will get to the roof alive. Just one improvement on the last round.
Can I just say how impressive it is to have gotten that C4 kill without the Valkyrie? Because typically teams will place the Valkyrie on the roof to either throw the C4 through the hatch as it's broken or pre-place it as Fury did. So to do it without Valkyrie, pretty impressive. Unless the default was up, but surely not. Surely not wildcard, please.
Oh, that would be... Yeah, that would be a bit of a nail in the coffin, but you have to wonder how he got the intel. Not really sure what was available to him, whether it was purely sound.
This has a good gaming chair.
Yeah, that's it. That's definitely it. We are seeing a Thatcher on Neo. More of a comfort pick for him, so I'm really surprised that maybe Wildcard aren't having Neo on the Thatcher more. Might be a change that they're working on. Diesel will lose that drone. He is able to shoot it though, so Fury aren't going to actually get to use it. It's just a drone lost for Wildcard. They've stalled out here, guys, though. Into the final minute, they're only really making their entry into Piano, which has been droned out by that Mozzie. They've got the Habana, but they haven't made any attempt to open those walls yet. And even if they do, the Mirror in Freezer on the other side is looking towards it.
Diesel on the Habana once again has the diffuser in hand, likely setting up for the plant. The rest of Wildcard trying to set up to cover, but Fury, they're not having a bar of it. Diesel's going to begin to open up the wall with his ex-Kairos. That might expose Warden inside of Freeze, but he jumps over towards the bathroom. Okay, Derpe shuts him down. Golden gets one back though, and the diffuser has been dropped. The smokes go out from Derp, and he's going to collect the diffuser, but he gets good. That's going to waste even more time as the frags are coming out. Neo gets one himself, so it's a 2-on-2. No denial from Fury, but the flank from Shade. This could be absolutely massive, and he gets the kill, leaving it at a 1-on-2, and Neo needs to collect it, but there's nothing he can do. The time will deplete, and Fury will win the round, and the flank watch from Wildcard. Ah, where is it? You had gridlock. Didn't do anything. No drones. That is such a simple rotate to cut off. You know Shade has been roaming in all of these rounds, and you haven't shut it down.
That was a great shot from Golden right there. But you're right, Shade on that rotate. I'd say they had track stingers on red, but he lost a little bit of damage. He might have just yeeted it through, and in the end, it wasn't enough to stop that flank. Unaware stops that plant. Fury take another round. Again, to an extent to be expected. Was in the grasps of Wildcard. Taking that advantage would have been really strong for them at this stage. But it slipped away, and Fury are going to try reading again, which they didn't really have a whole lot of success on last time.
And I'm surprised Wildcard are bringing Gridlock over Nomad, because typically Nomad is a relatively strong pick for them. Nomad isn't banned, so they could have brought him. Those air jabs would have definitely made Shade's position known. 100% would have made such a loud sound. Maybe they just didn't hear it over all the chaos going on site. I'm not sure.
It's definitely possible. There were smokes popping off, gunshots everywhere, frags were falling. I think it's definitely possible they just didn't hear those track stingers either get shot or stepped on. Either way, they're going to have to think about that. They're bringing the gridlock. They might have to dedicate some flank watch. I called it. Fury baited onto the Valkyrie here, but Wildcard actually got the IQ. So good adaptation from them, or maybe thinking ahead. Could find those Valk cams. Interesting whether it makes any difference on the round for Fury.
Oh, Warden, please don't. Don't do it to him. Come on. There is no... If Warden pulls this off again, that would be absolutely nutty. I'm not sure if he has intel on this occasion, but he's definitely dedicating to the C4. Diesel is the first player to make it towards the hatch. The C4 comes out. It's a little bit too late. I don't think that play was anywhere near the hatch, and Warden has now used it up. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, trying again, but you have to think Wildcard would have been expecting it this time. Must have been playing a sound cue, because it was pretty in time with Diesel getting on the roof. Diesel just happened to not be running that side. He went towards the skylight straight away. He was the Habana. He's not going to use pellets to open that hatch. Probably lucky it was him and not another player that was the one arriving on the roof. Either way, they're starting to get some control here. Derpe's going to look towards red stairs and cut this flank. There is one on the red stairs, and he finds the face of Shade. Shade will have no impact now on this round. It's a good start from Wildcard.
A nice entry there for Derpe and his team, but now it's time to try and capitalize upon that advantage. Having Shade off the board That's a great start because no longer will he be allowed to roam around the map. Neophyter gets a Claymore kill there onto Warden. So Fury now really lacking in that flank, in that roam rather, leaving them quite vulnerable on site, particularly from above. Wildcard should be able to flush them out as Fury, they've basically just been cut off outside of the site.
Golden is going to try and rotate around and get some kind of flank happening. They're also lacking in denial. Maybe a C4 on the Mozzie and the Mirror, but either way, they'll have to have some kind of direct line of sight, which can be cut off on the reading doorway. And I don't think Wildcard are going to try plant dining just because of how that Mirror is positioned and how it's being played. If they manage to clear it out, though, that could be the play. Either way, final minute here, Guz. A big man advantage for Wildcard. They've started this round strong. They need to close this one out.
Golden is just frantically running around, not quite sure where to go. Looks like he's going to just hold the hallway for now, and he gets pre-fired from the roof. Those shots will miss as Muesli now will get aggressive. Tries to peek to the player to his right. He gets the kill with the super short. He goes for a C4 to try and get it second, but it won't be the case. He makes his way out. Doesn't get taken out from the flank quad. Surely he doesn't get the kill. That was so close. He will finally get shut down by Neo, leaving it in a 2-on-4. Wildcard haven't won this round yet, though. They still need to try and get the plant out or hunt for kills. They don't have a lot of time on the board, and if they can deny this plant, Rock with that C4 could be massive. He's going to throw it out now, and if he gets it, there might not be time to reattempt. He gets the kill. It's now a 3-on-1. They need to reattempt the plant. Neo quickly scoops it up and will reattempt it now. Rock needs to try and get 3, but Imorin gets it. Wildcard will get the round back.
A good crossfire in the end held there. Imo getting a little aggressive. That could have not worked well for Wildcard, but either way, they did secure that out. It is now neck and neck, Guz. 2-2. It's a tight map yet again. Oh, that shot from Derpe.
I think it was he reloading then.
I think he was, yeah.
That feels bad.
Ooh. Diffuser down, 5 seconds to go. Definitely panic situation. Fury is sticking these second floor bomb sites, man. They don't like kitchen at all.
No. Bit unfortunate. There's definitely a lot that kitchen does provide in terms of defensive utility usage and the way that you can be a little bit creative. Nonetheless, though, talking about creativity, Wildcard, they finally bit the bullet. Derpe is going to jump onto the Nomad, which, personally, I'm pretty happy to see. I don't think Shade's going to be too happy to see that, but, well, he'll be alright. He's playing Pulse. He'll probably play below and gather intel, I assume. Fury would need to be mindful of that, as Wildcard will likely try and flush that out. Saw this site played previously. It was actually the very first bomb site. So is this... Wait, so are they playing...
Playing mining.
They're playing mining. Yeah. We did see this first.
Yeah.
Fury won that round nonetheless with a fantastic run out right at the very end. So maybe that's why they're bringing the Nomad. No, you don't want to get run out on.
I'd say so.
Probably. That's some deep analysis.
Learning from their mistakes, at least. Muesli on the Ella is also an interesting pick. Ella not chosen a whole lot on defense at the moment, but does provide some unique challenges. Those Grismont mines, if not located, could be troublesome, especially because Wildcard aren't bringing in Thatcher. So if Neophyter doesn't spot them on the IQ, or if Neophyter is taken out early, that could be a late round nuisance that affects Wildcard's execute. So just generally an aggressive player would be on the Ella, and that is something that Muesli has been known to be. So definitely could be something bothersome.
Warden shoots the speaker. He doesn't want to listen to the lovely
Music is
awesome.
awesome.
It is a bit annoying though. Definitely not what you want to be hearing when you're trying to sound off for players. Either way though, it doesn't look like they're going to hold that position. Warden playing quite a fluid roam over towards the white stairs. Imorin, he's droning this out currently. May spot the Mirror that's playing inside a cocktail. Ethan's prepared and ready for a ping. Pre-fires the angle, almost hits the shot. I believe that's Rock there, so he's lucky to get away with his life. The rest of Fury though, they're quite content playing on side, and it looks like that player that was above has now dropped down.
Yeah, surrendering the vertical control is a little bit tricky.
Muesli. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
He is still cocktail, but the vertical control required for mining has basically been achieved, and that's Piano. Open up Piano, and you can start flushing out these players that are playing around Train, which then gives you much more control to plant in A, being mining. Shade is getting a lot of intel here, though, that maybe Wildcard aren't aware of. Maybe the IQ hasn't scanned that out. They're not sure that C4 is actually going to miss its target, though. Bit of an oversight as Warden's taken off, so a good start so far from Wildcard, but time's ticking away here, Gus.
Once again, they're just taking it slowly, gathering control. Okay, Rock with another C4 will take down Emo Rin. That leaves a minute on the board in a 4 versus 4 for Wildcard to try and recover, try and set up for this plan. Try and give Diesel the cover that he needs for the execute.
Playing out pretty similar to how we saw the first round, the big difference being that run out from the red stairs, denying that plant in mining, which can be better covered now with the Nomad. We just saw a trade there, leaving it as a 3 versus 3. Wildcard are going to have to start getting a move on as we're ticking into this final 30 seconds. Diesel is still top 4 with Diffuser. That is Diffuser down, Guz.
It's now a 1-on-3 in favor of Fury, as Golden actually got a kill with the Goo Mine, so now it's left up to Derpay. He is on flank watch to start the round, but now he needs to frag out. He tries to kill the mirror, but he misses his shots, and now he has 15 seconds to collect 3. Doesn't have the Diffuser, misses his shots with the pistol, and Fury will take the round. And I must say, it feels a little bit ironic that Derpay was the one left in that scenario, considering that his air jabs didn't seem to shut down the flank. I mean, I think it was Golden that got one flank off. Shade actually, sorry. He got one, got traded out. And then there was a secondary flank, which then dropped the Diffuser, and by then the round was over.
Yeah, that one at red stairs was the devastating one. The Diffuser being dropped on top floor with such little time basically spelled the end of that round, provided Wildcard didn't frag out. And Fury ensured that by fragging them out first. And now Fury are going to go to that third floor. This was a close finish again, denied at that last second by a flank from Shade. So Wildcard could tidy it up and equal it 3-3, which would be a pretty successful attack half on Kafe. It doesn't feel like it, though.
If I was attacking Kafe and I got a 3-3, I'd be pretty happy. Especially considering the performance on map number 1. To salvage it like that on a defense map as heavy as Kafe, definitely will be pretty happy with that. But you know what? I get the impression that Fury, they're not going to make it too easy for them. Definitely didn't make map number 1 a breeze in that second half, so really going to fight hard here. Try and give themselves that 4-2 lead, because if they're able to do that, that sets them up quite nicely for the second half. I mean, Fury showed up in the second half of map number 1.
And that was on attack as well. So talk about bad omens for Wildcard. Wildcard were even up 4-2 on that first map.
Ooh, deja vu-ish, sort of.
Oh, well. Use it on this Goyo. Liking a lot of Goyo tonight. We actually have seen quite a lot of Goyo plays.
Pretty good. I'm writing it in my notebook.
These are being very careful approaching the building here. Definitely being that last defense round, really common to see spawn peaks. Just trying to be a little aggressive, a little edgy, get that mental state leg up, so to speak, against your opponents. They did stick that Nomad, Guz, so decided that was a better play than the Gridlock.
Shade though, he's still flanking around. I don't think we've ever spectated him standing still. I don't know what it is. I don't know what he ate for breakfast. Man does not like sitting still. He's just running around causing all sorts of headaches. For Fury, he did it on map number 1 and he's continuing to do so here on Kafe. Playing Pulse as well, I think is a really smart decision for Fury, because that mobile intel gathering is very, very important in supporting the rest of their players.
It also means they can't really ignore him. Whether they hunt him or somehow set up their flanks to watch that middle floor, they have to do something about it. Because if he's able to deny plant from below or even feed the intel for his other teammates on that bomb site floor, it's going to be too devastating for their attacks. So they are going to have to drone it out, which is what we're seeing here. They are setting up these flank drones, so they've got that backup flank watch. As long as it's being watched, you get fighter against Water, no, that's the Jaeger off.
A nice pick to open up proceedings, and Neo will now proceed to drone over to Golden is holding this position. There's a player on the window to his left. He pings it out. Not quite willing to take the shot. He does eventually, but he misses. The rest of Wildcard looks to approach and help him out, but there's multiple members in their way in between them. Emo in. He's going to get aggressive over towards Pixel. There is a player to his hard left. He is aware that a player could wide peek it. His crosshair placement ready for the crouch peek. Rock with a massive C4. Good net a kill. Either way though, he pops the Goyo and that's going to waste a bit of time.
Yeah, Music is going to have to get out of
Oh,
there.
no.
He does run in, and he catches the one. Piano off guard. Diesel caught sleeping. He is refragged, but that is Diffuser down. That is the Habana down. He finally used his pellets, though, so we'll have some kind of assistance.
Rock is stuck between a rock and a hard place, you could say, behind that mirror shield. The player on his window, Repel causing all sorts of issues. There's Shade. He's causing issues on the flank once again. Derpe is taken out. Once again, the flank watch is off the board. That leaves it in a 3-on-3, 30 seconds left to go. Emo in with that soft destruction, trying to create a clean passage in towards the default plant. Ethan, meanwhile, he's trying to provide coverage from behind, trying to flush out these members, covering that plant. It's going to come down to timing here on the side of Wildcard. Can they hold back this push that Fury will have to create? Emo Rin gets one. Shade gets it back, though, on the flank again. It's a 2-on-2. 5 seconds left with the diffuser down. Golden will be down. He's taken out, but Shade, he can just play time. He's going to sit. Nothing he needs to do. Fury win the round. And Shade is literally a flank god on this match so far. 2 rounds, he's done it to Wildcard. Excuse me?
Yeah. Look, I think the defense of Fury on Kafe could be just called the tale of timing. So many rounds they won just by timing that flank completely uncaught by Wildcard, denying the person that had diffuser. That's the most critical part. Is it was the diffuser carrier, the planter, in plant motion, all of the above. Either way, like those flanks were just devastating for Wildcard. Shade got that C4 kill from below, right in front of where that flank drone was set up that we saw by Derpe. So I don't know whether it was shot or no one was watching. Either way, not great. Like even if a drone is shot on flank, you've got to say, if that's missing, someone's there. It's been shot. Someone's flanking. There's a lot of intel that gives you. Anyway, Wildcard are at 2-4 deficit. Not super strange for Kafe. They're going to have to dig deep though, man, because Fury have had a lot of momentum now.
Well and truly on the back foot are Wildcard. Despite being defender side, it could be argued that they should be 4-2 up. 2 rounds. The flankers come out. They haven't even gotten all the kills, Fury. They've just played time, and it's not meant to happen against a team that's so professional and so well bonded together with their synergy. You don't expect these sort of rookie, if you would, mistakes from them. You don't expect that sort of flank to actually work. So it's so disappointing for Wildcard, but they can now fall back on the fact that this is a heavily defender-sided map. They could well and truly get the next 2 rounds, and it will be even.
That's right, it will only take 2 rounds, and on defense on Kafe, a massive ask. Fury really flexed some muscle though on Coastline with those attacks, whether that is just the nature of the map or not. They're able to bring the same level of coordination to Kafe. That could be really, really difficult for Wildcard to deal with.
Shade will drone it out. It caused a lot of issues on the defense. Probably pretty wise to chuck him on a 3-speed, let him run right on the attack as well. He's going to drone ahead for the rest of his team. He spots one there at Pixel. I believe that was Emorin playing near the shield. Warden is ready and waiting in that position to try and frag him out. The ACOG will serve him well. Once they clear him out, or if they clear him out, then they'll be able to proceed towards the side. But it looks like Emorin's playing it perfectly thus far.
Yeah, and the only one that can really flush that shield is Rock with the soft breach that's available. But he is not there at the moment. It's eating up a lot of time. It's allowing Neofighter to freely rotate around. He might be trying to get a run out here. That south run out blocked, but Derpe finds one on the south window as we see that body fall to the ground. It was Shade on the IQ. Warden is downed. 5 versus 3 now, guys, at the half point.
That could be a massive air jab, and it works in the side of Fury. Golden gets the kill, and that should forfeit piano control to Fury. They have the man disadvantage, but they do have the hard usually. Neofighter tries to yeet a C4. Not sure why he would do that so early. Either way, it doesn't net him a kill. They still do have a C4 in the hand of Ethan if they need it later in the round. Meanwhile, the wall will get opened, and now Fury have a decent passage to the side.
That was a strange C4 from Neo. I don't know whether he's playing off some kind of intel. Either way, old intel, bad intel, it was nowhere near its shot, and that's going to be coming back to bite them later. It's denial they won't have, but they do have 3 smoke babes. Diesel could really shut this round down. He's tagged as he rotates. really low. Fury in a strong position. Usually you shouldn't win those. Fury are in the box seat, guys, in this final 30 seconds.
Fury on the edge of winning their 5th round of this map. Golden gets 1, and now Neo's in a 3-on-1. He can't quite hit the shots, eventually drops Rock. Fury know exactly where he is. He's low on HP. Surely he can't get the kill. He won't. And Fury from nowhere will take the round. And Raven, they are 1 round away from getting a point. What? I feel like I've said what about 1,000 times this broadcast, but some of these plays from Fury they're crazy. And they're working, which is probably even stranger.
Yep, and it is 1 attack away, as you said. You could even say Fury have won 6 attack rounds in a row. Their streak of rounds 1 was ended, but this is now their attack phase.
That's a weird flex.
And look, like you said, 1 round away from securing a draw for themselves. That would be 4 points for the night at worst. And that's definitely probably not what they expected themselves.
Probably not.
I'm sure they were backing themselves coming in.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you go into a game thinking you're going to win. I mean, if you don't, you're probably not going to win it. But I think they would have realistically been happy with maybe drawing a map. I don't know.
Yeah,
they could well and truly win too. I'm not sure. Where's that going to place them in the standings? Because I feel like that's going to give them a really healthy boost and could put them really close actually to wildcard.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. It's definitely going to be close on the standings, that's for sure. Wildcard do have a chance to bring it back, guys. They're going to have to do the Fury to win it back, and that is getting 5 rounds in a row. On defense this time, though. Some interesting strats with the Koyo coming out. Diesel playing that, not on his smoke comfort operator. Look, I'm just scared for Wildcard. The Fury momentum is just so good right now.
Yeah. And we saw them act upon that momentum so nicely on the last map, and Wildcard just fell to pieces, really. But hopefully they don't let that round count really get to their heads too much. Fury, I'm sure they'll be letting that round count get to their head a little bit, and they'll have some really nice confidence. And as you mentioned in the first map, they don't really have as much to lose here. They don't have as much on the line. They don't have as much pride on the line as well. Fury are just doing Fury things, running around the map, being a little crazy, and it's working out.
Yeah, it is, and something that we saw Wildcards even struggle with Kanga last week, if we want to bring it back even more. Similar to how Kanga were winning so many rounds against Wildcard. Again, just playing really loose, hard to predict, coming from positions you don't expect at times you don't expect. It's really exposing some adaptability issues for them. Entry, not quite as quick as we've seen from Fury in previous attacks, but successful it was. Shade getting that opening pick onto Emarin. Bit of an impact player off the board. It's looking good for Fury, guys.
Definitely a great start, and they still have 2 minutes to work with. Rock gets Neo, and it's looking like we are edging closer and closer to that point. Unfortunately for Fury, those X-Kairos will be denied. Weasley will try and retake it. Diesel doesn't have any impacts left either, so that wall will surely be opened, and now Derpe and Diesel are likely exposed in the site. Not quite sure where Ethan is. It looks like he might be all the way at the top floor, so he could come for a big flank late. But if Fury just go straight towards the site, they could be in a world of hurt really soon.
Yeah, Ethan has made his way to the top floor, as you said. He's going to look to push down red stairs. This could be the round winning or killing play here. If the flank watch is effective from Fury, he could get caught off. He's going to push down this hallway. And this, he's got to call this the make or break. He pre-fires. So many players know where he is now. Means they know 2 on site. They've still got so much time, guys. Fury have great map control. They can just plan this final move with perfection. And so far, that is what you could almost call their attacks. They've just been so well coordinated, so well timed.
So many angles that Fury heading towards the side, and Wildcard don't have the manpower to watch them all. If they can get another pick here, it should be over, surely. Oh, Ethan though, okay. He gets 1, so that's Shade off the board. He's playing still inside of Bakery. Diesel gets 1 as well. Rock will cut down the flank. So it is a 2-on-2. Rock and Warden, the 2 operators, brothers in arms, trying to win this round back. 30 seconds left on the board. Diesel holding a really nice entry to the main door. Derpe holding the flank near to where the diffuser has been dropped. So Wildcard are holding very nice positions. Whether or not they can hit their shots will be another story. I wonder if there's intel on these players.
15 seconds
If
to
they
go.
have that intel, can act upon it. It looks like the pings come out, the nade as well to follow, so maybe they're quite unaware. No, they try and nade the
Attackers
bulletproof, but
recovered
it
the
doesn't
bomb
work, and now they have full intel to the entry.
5
Derpe
seconds
needs to try
remaining.
and spray them down. Fury not left with a lot of time, and they should be depleted. The plant will be attempted really late. Derpe gets one though, and there we go, he gets the second wild card. Oh, okay, man. They're bringing it back, but that was close. Yeah, not the most comfortable round, I don't think, in their careers.
No, I think that just came down to just maybe a little bit of an untidy finish from Fury.
Attackers
So far, a little uncharacteristic of their attacks. They had that 5 versus 3 man advantage. They weren't able to trade it out, so closed out by Wildcard. Props to them to do it. They will have to choose a different bomb site now, though. They're going to the top floor. Fury they have multiple chances to be able to secure at least this point for themselves. The 2 rounds buffer right now provides a little bit of comfort, and again, it puts that pressure on Wildcard.
And I know this is harping on a while ago at the Tokoname finals, but it does sort of raise a flag. How did Wildcard go from beating the top seeded team in EU,
defenders protect your bombs
on this
from being
map,
defused by attackers.
which I don't think anyone expected them to win, and it was quite convincing, to now struggling against a mid-tier ANZ team?
Could be a lot of factors at play, whether that's prep issues, just other issues in general. On top of that, when you go to those international events, you have a lot more time to prepare for like one opponent, especially Pro League finals. They knew they had Na'Vi. They would have prepared for ages. They boot camped almost specifically for that. So you can be better rehearsed for matches like that in a way. It doesn't necessarily make it easier. It's also best of 3s. But like you said, it was this map.
5 seconds left.
Fury playing really well at the moment, and I'd say they're just really exploiting the weaknesses of Wildcard that are happening at this stage. Some things we've seen as well kind of point to some communication issues with Wildcard. Some really errant C4s, some strange aggressive plays. Like that. That one paid off though.
Okay, not quite sure where that kill was from. It looks like it may have been that south window. Either way,
Attackers
no,
recovered the
it
diffuser.
wasn't. It was the southwest, potentially. I don't know. Either way, Muesli is off the board, most importantly, and that means that Fury no longer have a hard breach. And on this site, no hard breach makes it really hard.
Yeah, not putting that pressure through Freezer makes it really tricky. It means you have to put a lot more pressure on Cocktail, which in itself is just not simple. There's only 2 windows on that side, one onto that new balcony and one actually into Cocktail itself. And they're so easy to run out on. So it's definitely not going to be easy for Fury.
Bomb
But
located by attackers.
if anyone's shown that they can push themselves out of a tough position tonight, it's been Fury based on the back of some really coordinated aggression. Could still happen here.
Neo Fighter on the Mozzie has collected himself a drone, and he'll use that to try and assist Emo Rin, who's holding Pixel. Can't quite get it up where he wants it, but he's just going to leave it in position, and that'll gain some nice intel on that red entry, which looks to be coming out from Fury. Remember, they have no hard breach, so they're going to be forced to do all these doorways. Golden on the Nomad, he's going to set up a flank, so hopefully they don't fall victim to the flank that worked on multiple occasions on their own defense. Either way, though, it looks like the initial setup's decent, but again, it's really going to come down to how they are going to push towards the site without that hard breach.
All 5 are back on site. Golden has got Emo Rin. Emo Rin again has been for Wildcard. They're opening death quite a lot. Not having as much of an impact as we've seen before. That air jab got wasted though to that ADS. Bit of an oversight there. Now Golden's going to have to push deep. Neo has a very strong position in the bathroom. He's going to have to be hard pushed to be cleared out. It's going to be difficult to deal with. Rogue tag very low. HP moving against Fury at this stage. Wildcard holding strong, trying to peek out and get a couple of picks. Still 50 seconds to go, Guz, so Fury have some time to make something happen. It's becoming increasingly harder as Neo finds Warden. They just feed Neo right now. Big man advantage for Wildcard.
Rock and Golden. They have 35 seconds now to try and bring this round back. But with Neo holding that diffuser, I don't think it's really going to be possible. Maybe a drop from the skylight could work here for Fury, but either way, it's like a lost cause. Ethan gets Rock. Surely Neo will secure this kill.
Oh, they traded.
Oh, he traded. I thought he got refragged, but either way, he's off the board. Wildcard now edging closer. A little bit closer to potentially bringing this one back. It's 4-5 still in favor of Fury, but Wildcard are beginning to gain some nice momentum.
Yeah, and again, they are on defense. you could argue it's to be expected they're going to win majority of their defenses. So really, you could just say it comes down to how many attacks Fury can pull together. They do only need one more, Guz, to secure at least one more point. And I think more importantly, by doing so, they are denying Wildcard more points. It would mean that Wildcard would come out of this series with 1 point. They didn't get 4 points they expected last week. That'd be 5 points this week they wouldn't have been expecting to lose. Shapes up the season to be very interesting. Warden on the Ying. Are we going to see a bit more aggression here?
Well, we saw
Attackers
half a
need to
rush
locate and
in the
defuse
last
the
map.
bomb.
Fury brought, what was it, like the Dockerby, the Lion.
Yep.
They rushed in the main door. They got a pick, and then they all slowed down. Maybe we'll see something different here. I want to point out that if Anixian and Fnatic are watching this match, they have got to be cheering hard for Fury right now, because they know that the more points that Fury steal here, the chances of them making APAC finals only continues to increase.
Absolutely, and all things being equal in terms of like if Anixian secure their matches, Wildcard would be 7 points behind them, you would say, on standings. And that's actually really big.
That's massive. Fury are the gatekeepers of ANZ. I mean, I don't want to bring up some PTSD for you, but, you know.
Yes.
Yeah,
Look,
we won't go there.
they did stop Anixian from making APAC land last season. I mean, that's actually worth bringing up, to be honest. Thanks to Fury, Wildcard made it to APAC finals.
It's a bit ironic, isn't it?
They made it to APAC finals because of Fury's performance against, it was Oddity, but they're now Anixian last season. And right now, they're almost, you could say, we might find out towards the end of the season, but they could be putting the nail in the coffin for Wildcard, even making it this season. It might come all back to this series, who knows?
Either way, though, Fury still need to at least win one more round to try and steal a couple more points. They're going to be hard-pressed to clear out above, like you always are on this map. You need to try and get a couple of early picks. Hopefully they don't lose their hard reach early on as well. Drones will come out. Emo Rin is playing above alongside Derpe, so there are 2 players trying to hold position, as 3 are below. Fury should be able to drone this out, have a really clear idea on where these players are, and start to try and flush them out.
Definitely taking their time. I'm kind of surprised, because when I saw the Ying was 6-picked onto, I was expecting a bit more quicker kind of aggression to try and deal with what Wildcard is setting up, but that hasn't happened. Maybe saving it for some kind of explosive execute at some stage of the next minute and a half. But the real linchpin here is Derpe holding Cocktail. That's such an important position to hold for reading. If they can't clear him out, Imorin's there to back him up as well. If they can't clear this out soon, they're going to have a real difficult time trying to push towards reading. They might have to bail towards dining. But they've got Ethan to deal with, and then Neo over on Laundry, and it's really exposed. So the time is really running away for Fury here. They've got to make something happen soon.
It looks like maybe Fury are forfeiting that, instead trying to push red. There are multiple players from Wildcard watching this push, though. Diesel and Ethan, namely, in really powerful positions. Diesel gets lit up, but he gets away. Fury are still trying to flush him out of pillars. Golden gets Derpe, though, so that will be the dock off the board with 50 seconds left. Definitely winnable for Fury, but Diesel gets Golden, so it's a 4-on-4. Doesn't get the second, though. Couple of kills coming out from Fury. Quickly turns it to a 4-on-2. Warden gets dropped, though. That's from the Goyo shield, the flame from the Goyo shield. And it leaves it in a 2-on-3. Ethan and Emo Rin. Ethan's inside train. Emo Rin's above. Not the greatest positions. They could be flushed out. Emo Rin, though, he rotates back down towards the site. Ethan's under the pump. There is a player there inside of Engine, inside of Mining, trying to flush him out. Can't quite hit the kills. Both players whiffing shots as Emo Rin has safely made his way back to the site. Ethan's trying to shoot above, but he gets taken out. So it's a 1-on-3, and Shade will shut down Emo Rin, and the gatekeepers of ANZ will steal more points from Wildcard.
Yes, and the impact that will have on the standings we'll talk about a bit later, but either way, the impact on the morale of Wildcard has got to be felt tonight.
Yikes.
Fury.
I would not want to be in that voice chat, Raven. Oh my goodness.
Fury are on match point, Guz. So again, this is the conversation we had on Coastline when they hit 6. Best Wildcard can get is 1 point. They could still come out of this with no point. Wildcard could lose both of these maps. They could come out of tonight with 0. That is still a very real possibility here. They're 2 rounds behind. They're going down to Kitchen, which they just held on to last time, reminding you it was a 5 versus 3 or 5 versus 2 towards the end of that round. It's could be again another lost map, Guz.
And again, if you had have told me going into this that Fury are going to take 2 maps against Wildcard, I don't know, I thought you would have must have fallen down and hit your head or something, because there's no way that you could go into this expecting that. I mean, yeah, maybe they would have gotten a draw. I think I predicted a draw. So, yeah, maybe this will be a draw. So go Wildcard. Woo! But I didn't expect Fury to win the first map.
Yeah.
So that's definitely unexpected.
Yeah, I'm sure if we looked at caster predictions, there's not going to be many Fury logos amongst that at all, to be honest.
What are the cast? The casters know nothing. Yeah.
I think one thing to say about that though, especially when I thought about my predictions, is not as much that I doubted Fury, it's just that we didn't have as much about Fury to go on for this season. They really only had that match against TBD. And Wildcard, we'd seen a bit, and they'd had some strong maps against those teams they'd lost to. They just showed some cracks. But cracks are coming many in this series so far. Fury exploiting them. This could be the last round, guys. Let's wait and see what Fury have for us, what they have in store for Wildcard.
Very interesting VIP hold from Wildcard, utilizing Neo's castles over on that side of the map. Castle himself is playing in coach check. So a decent setup for Wildcard. It looks like they are quite willing to hold off site, try and slow down the push from Fury as they continue to drone it out. Fury have been quite efficient in these early stages of the round, considering Kafe is a really challenging map to gain that map control. Shade on Jackal, that's an interesting pick. That's a nice way to gather even more intel. Ethan's on the top floor though, so it looks like they have droned him out. Need to try and flush him out or just ignore him and get him on the retake.
Move down red can cause some issues. He's placed goo mines, which are also going to cause stall points for Fury. They don't have the IQ to spot them out, so they will have to drone them or just step on them. They are taking their time. They're being very thorough with these drones. That hatch going open is going to start to create some pressure on site. It means that Wildcard will be very much aware the drop is possible. Ethan picks up that goo. He's going to reposition. He knows somebody is trying to push him on red, but he's not going to push up. He's not trying to overextend, not give Fury too much of a lead. Diesel, what a shot through the bars. Takes out Muesli. That's the hard breach, but he was taken low in the process.
Fury now left in a 4-on-5. Just over a minute to go, so plenty of time to work with, especially if they can get another pick. The vertical control from them is quite strong, and I'm not really expecting Wildcard to attempt a retake. If they do, they'll have to be very late and out of desperation. Rock continues to just open up this floor, exposing so many angles down below. Wildcard should be safe though. It looked like they're having quite a strong site hold away from the objective, so that could go well for them.
Yes, we're ticking into this final 50 seconds. Most of Fury is still on that second floor, so they're going to have to move around. This is where they came undone last time. They just tried to funnel through this bakery red hallway section, and it just meant Wildcard were able to pick them off one by one. Looks like it could be this way, guys. There's one solo every bakery, but Warden wins that gunfight on Emo. Oh, this is the final 30 seconds, guys, and it's going to be hectic 4 versus 4.
An unfortunate whiff there from Emo really opens up this round now for Fury. If they win this, it'll be 6 points tonight. It'll be absolutely massive for their campaign and devastating for Wildcard. Warden tries to prone in towards the site. He has the diffuser in hand. Fury need to try and cover his position. Derpe, though, he gets rockers. Warden's unaware there's a player straight to his left, but he gets taken out. It's a 3-on-2. They need to try and attempt the plant, but Warden, he can't get it down. Wildcard win the round. I thought it was going to be a bit close there. Oh, I thought the flick would come out. Oh, I just don't know what to expect in these late rounds. I mean, Wildcard has just been absolutely nuts.
We are going the full distance here, guys. It is again a 6-5 situation in favor of Fury. That round was close. Fury had it in their grasps on that entry once they cleared out Emo and Bakery. I'm not too sure about the decision to go deep by the planter. If he just planted safer at the bridge, maybe it could have been better held by his teammates. That is hearsay. We won't know, but what we do know is that Wildcard are going to be holding this 3rd floor on their final attempt. And Fury, they have 3 points in their sights. It is within reach, guys.
Wildcard have attempted this site 3 times, including this one, so far. They have a 50% success rate, so they have won it once, and they have lost it once. That's some quick math, but look, they need to win this one, otherwise they will be going home with 0 points across 2 maps. So that'll be 0 out of a possible 6, and that is massive. So hopefully they can at least salvage 1 point here. I don't know, salvage something. I mean, they're not gonna be happy with 1. Let's be honest.
No.
But I mean, 1 is better than none.
Yes.
I'm a poet, and I didn't even know.
Oh, no. Get out of here. But yes, you are right. They want to try and salvage something. It's only 1 point, and
Wait, what?
5 seconds
okay,
left.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Ah, it almost worked.
almost.
Attackers are moving out
But
to
yes, they want to
locate
salvage
bomb and
something. Either way, it's not the desired result they wanted. In fact, it's almost exactly the opposite. And it still could exactly be the opposite if Fury win this round. Warden looked very undecided in that pick phase, I must say, about who to play. He was swinging between so many different operators. He ended up on Zofia. Whether that was a good decision or
He went
not.
to pick up the wrong drone.
Oh, no.
Poor Shade. Oh, it was unlucky. Oh, it didn't cost him too much. Though.
No. No, it was alright.
Just a bit embarrassing.
Yeah, they're going to have to start making a bit of an impact, Fury, I'd say. One thing that probably worked against them last time they attacked the side is they just were a little slow to clear out these positions. I mean, fair enough, it's not easy to clear out. That's good to clear already, and those south windows being held, really strong. If they can hold those runouts, this is a good start.
Emorin already finding himself trapped in bathroom. Rock is holding a fantastic angle here, waiting for the rest of his teammates to push through Piano. Emorin does have a rotate though, so if he decides that this is too much pressure, he can fall back towards bathroom, but then he might expose himself to the skylight, potentially if he gets a little bit too overzealous, so he needs to be mindful. Fury in a really nice position so far, but like all attacks on Kafe, once you get piano control, it's that second phase that's so hard.
Yeah, and a lot of teams struggle with that phase. What it comes down to is what can you do with Cocktail on the white stairs section
bomb located
of
by
that bomb
attackers.
site. If you can't move those positions out, just too many good long angles to be held, too many good angles of denial. Ethan is below with a C4. He has some lines of sight. He doesn't get those shots though onto the Habana. That could have been devastating for Fury. Wildcard are teetering on the edge. Fury are teetering on the edge. I'm teetering on the edge of my seat, guys. I don't know which way this is going to go, and we've got a minute left in this round.
I can feel my heart pounding. I can't imagine the pressure on the shoulders of Wildcard as Derpe gets the first. That double run from Wildcard could now definitely be strengthened from below. It looks like Neo Fighter has rotated off that, and I believe Ethan's down as well. Neo doesn't have a C4. Ethan does though, so they could potentially play off him. Fury, they need to try and get a pick back, or it could just be too hard in that plant.
Could be, and Ethan looks poised to do a jump out there that could make or break the round. Diesel still has these smoke bays, one remaining.
Ooh.
Muesli can peek in though, he can hold this angle. He's going deep and he doesn't get the kill. He is tagged out, 25 seconds, that's Diffuser and Freezer.
Diesel coming up clutch like he always does as Neo gets one as well, and Fury are letting this round slip away. Rock gets one though. He's teamed up with Golden. Can they find more picks though? That is the question. Golden, he gets one. It's a 3-on-2 as the Diffuser has now been collected. It's going to be all about denial from below. Derpe should be shut down, but he isn't. Either way, the C4 will deny that plant, and Wildcard will go home with a single measly point.
Yes, I'm sure they're not going to be happy with that, but at least they got that. We will have a draw on map 2. That means Fury will be taking home 4 points. Wildcard will be taking home 1 point, and Derpe managed to get 13 kills for his team, popping off. Golden big on 14 for Fury.
The super sub, who's now called.
Yes, and look, not a result we expected, that is for sure. I am gobsmacked that we are talking about Fury taking home 4 points, but huge credit to them. They played really, really well tonight.
Yeah, I mean, yes, some of those round wins were off the back of wildcard mistakes, but I think the maps in general were really headed by great plays from Fury. I mean, their attacks were calculated and then quite explosive at the end. Their defenses, they were just a whole nother beast, and Wildcard were really, really struggling, particularly on the flanks, to shut that down. I guess the question is, where do Wildcard go now? Because, I mean, they have the 6th Invitational coming up. Maybe this will plague their minds a little bit, I don't know, but I mean, talking about Pro League, when they come back, what are they going to do? Because their position in that top 2 is really compromised now.
It's a bit of a mess. They're essentially G2ing themselves. If
Oh.
you guys don't get the reference,
Oh,
G2.
okay. Whew.
Last time they went away for a major, they dropped a lot of points in Pro League in the first half. They weren't able to make it back. In fact, they haven't since been back to Pro League finals. So it's feeling like a very similar trend at the moment for Wildcard. It's a lot of points to drop early for a team like them to teams they should be beating.
But I mean, Fury, let's talk about them for a second. Let's highlight how well that they played. And I guess my question is, what's clicking? Because we know they didn't have the greatest matches against TBD. To come out against Wildcard and perform as well as they did, what gives?
I mean, two things. One thing real quick there is maybe that just shows how good TBD are on Consulate. They are undefeated on Consulate.
Don't take TBD Consulate.
But to be honest, what I saw was a lot of great team play. Some people will call it random and aggressive, but it looked coordinated to me. They had great droning, some great calls, rotation calls that they executed well. All that stuff adds up, and at the end of the day, I just think they made a lot less mistakes than Wildcard, and that was the difference in points.
Yeah, and I mean, how does Wildcard bounce back from this? Because we did mention that some of those rounds, they were off mistakes.
Yeah.
Yes, Shade in the 2 rounds on Kafe played fantastically well to go for those flanks, but they had flank watch. They also potentially had drones as well, and they were still just throwing these rounds, and it was really hard to watch. I mean, after each one, we just look at each other, and we were just like gritting our teeth, like, Wildcard, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you tidy that up? Because I know we've mentioned Homeless, for example, pretty much every game they've played, except maybe today on Border, that they've had this same issue as well. So
Yep.
how do you sort of go about adjusting and fixing that?
It's not easy, and especially for a team like Wildcard with the experience. One thing, an excuse I guess you could say I made for Homeless is that they don't have that experience. Pretty common mistakes to be making as an inexperienced team, and that they can use this to grow. Wildcard, on the other hand, they're very experienced. They've played internationally now, so mistakes like this shouldn't be happening. So that really shows that the root issue is not as surface level. Could be something else, whether it's some role issues that aren't clicking anymore, some communication mishaps. We won't know. Either way, they're going to have to work really hard because they're not easy issues to fix normally. And so far, it's just trending in a bad direction.
Yeah, and something I want to highlight is the bans. Because in the first matchup, we've sort of discussed that maybe the teams won those maps off the back of some really smart vetoes. Do you get that impression on the second matchup? Because it felt like maybe it was a little bit more balanced.
Yeah, I definitely don't. Like, we talked about Kafe being a pretty strong wildcard map. In the end, they drew it. Even Coastline, actually, you could almost say Kafe Coastline, 2 of the stronger maps for wildcard. And it just didn't work out that way. And I wouldn't say that's a veto issue. I just think it came down to the execution just being really off for wildcard.
And we also saw Mirror played on both maps, I think, or at least wasn't banned on both maps, which is a little bit unusual, particularly maybe on Kafe. I guess you could argue, though, that maybe Coastline and Kafe are the 2 maps where you probably don't see as much Mirror play.
Yep.
Do you have any sort of thoughts on how you think that may have impacted this matchup? Because we did see the teams try it a little bit, particularly on map number 2.
Yeah, I think maybe it had more of an impact on Kafe, but even then I don't think it had a huge impact, to be honest. Like, most of those rounds, or at least half of those rounds, were won off just like perfectly timed flank plays that weren't caught by Fury. And that really doesn't have anything to do with the Mirror. So I think it's fair to say it didn't have a massive impact, and I don't think Wildcard could turn around and say, oh, we should have blamed the Mirror, that really cost us some rounds. I don't think that's fair to say.
Well, we have Silex, the coach of Wildcard, ready and waiting. Let's say good day. Hey Silex, how you doing, mate? Unfortunately, probably not the greatest result tonight, probably not exactly what you wanted. What's running through your head right now?
Hey guys, hey Raven.
Hey man.
Yeah, a bit disappointing performance by us tonight. Coastline and Kafe, 2 maps that we are quite confident on. So we went in thinking we'd win both. Yeah, that didn't work out so well for us. Yeah, they played really well.
Yeah. Coastline, as you said, is usually a strong map for you guys, and you really struggled on defense. Is that more credit to how Fury was attacking, or do you feel you guys just had that many issues on your defense?
Like, not to take anything away from Fury, because they really played well. They hit their shots, their coordination was pretty good. But there were definitely some issues on our part as well. Like communication issues, people not listening properly. And those issues also carried over into Kafe.
Yeah, and you said that you guys felt like you won the veto. So were there any other variables that really affected your performance? Is there able to be any insight that you can give us onto what was really playing out within the team?
Like I said before, communication issues. There were a lot of like key frags that were also missed. You could see them on Kafe. Their roam play was really annoying to deal with, and we would just we let them run around for free basically.
Yeah.
And we weren't punishing them at all. As soon as we got one, someone else was there. They were like extra clones or something. So yeah, we weren't dealing with that properly, so that cost us a lot of rounds as well.
Yep.
Well, you guys alongside Fnatic will of course be representing ANZ in the Six Invitational quite shortly. Is there anything you'd like to say maybe to the fans that will be heading down to Montreal and those that will be tuning in online?
Yeah, so we play at the Six Invitational soon, a couple of weeks. Hopefully our performance picks up by then. Thank you for continuing to support us. Yeah, it means a lot to us. Thanks again.
All right, thanks Silex. We'll see you next time. All the best, mate.
See you guys.
See you, mate.
Still pretty wholesome, but you know, you could tell in his eyes it hurt.
I could feel it.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was rough.
That was
Yeah, look, I think he said a lot about what we talked about.
Yeah, pretty much the same.
Yeah, the flank issues, communication issues. Yeah, it's sad to hear, but really hope they can bounce back. They've got a boot camp ahead of Six Invitational. If there's any way you can nut out a really difficult issue, it's going to be the boot camp. So hopefully that can be their saving grace.
Yeah, I really, really hope that these issues don't transfer over to LAN. I guess the one thing that Wildcard do have going for them is that they have a lot of LAN experience. Pretty much equal, or maybe a little bit less than Fnatic, but they have probably one of the highest within ANZ, within APAC. Hopefully that will transfer over to the Invitational where they will of course be playing on LAN. But if they're having communication issues, that's still going to transfer over to that, and it's probably even more difficult in the LAN environment where it's even more stressful.
For sure, you have to be perfect when you're at LAN, otherwise you're against really tough opponents. They're going to capitalize on most mistakes. That being said, like their run into APAC finals last season, they weren't in great form either in the online season. They managed to scrape through, but then they played fantastic at LAN, and that was after a boot camp. So again, maybe that's a sign of the times. They just need another boot camp to be able to fix some of this stuff. Maybe they'll be all right. I really hope for them that they can get on top of it. It's very strange just to see them in this form. It's definitely, I don't want to use the term weak, but I'm going to use it because I'm a little bit tired. It's definitely the weakest wildcard I think we've seen in a very long time.
Well, fingers crossed for Wildcard, but let's now shift our focus over to Fury. We have our interview ready and waiting, so let's beam it up. G'day Golden, good to see you again, buddy. Congratulations on the results tonight. How you guys feeling?
Oh, pretty good. We're pretty chuffed with the first map, and then to get drawn the second map was a bit disappointing as we kind of did have it in the bag there. Nearly threw a wild card, but managed to take the draw.
Look, something Silex said to us is that they felt really confident out of the map veto. I want to hear your thoughts about how you guys felt about the map veto. Did that actually go the way you guys had planned?
Yeah, it did. Shade was wanting to go for coastlines. He felt it like would fall into our aggression, and that would be their downfall. Kafe, we've usually done pretty well on as well, so that was a no-brainer.
Yeah, and on Kafe in particular, they've had some strong performances, notably against Na'Vi. Was there something in particular that you guys really worked on to try and counter their Kafe?
Not really. We just sort of went like pure aggression, read into like their holes and just pick them off one by one.
Yep.
I don't know how to respond to that answer. Anyway, moving on. Where do you guys go to from now? Because that's giving you a really nice point boost heading into the rest of the season. Are you guys eyeing off those top 2 spots?
Oh, definitely. We've aimed for top 4 this season as opposed to the bottom 4 last season. And I do think it is pretty achievable now. We've got Fnatic tomorrow. That's going to be a tough one, but looking forward to it nonetheless.
Well, Golden, we appreciate your time. All the best against Fnatic, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah.
Little bit of a contrast between Golden and Silex, I must say.
Of course.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that result was huge for Fury. Sounds like they were really confident going into Coastline, which was interesting because I thought out of the 2 maps they might have been most confident going into Kafe. But either way, clearly worked out well for them. They've clearly done a lot of prep coming into this season and for Wildcard. I am very curious now about tomorrow night's matchup against